everyone, welcome to another episode of the Sunshine Sessions. This time we have something which is a little unique, and we're doing it with Dia Vaswani, who is a certified image consultant and a soft skills trainer. She has trained more than 500 individuals and counting in the art of confidence and how to present yourself. From dining etiquette to communication, Dia believes that good manners start young. And with regard to that, we're shooting this podcast, which is going to highlight how parents can raise their kids to grow up not just to be smart, but to be socially confident too. So, Dia, welcome on Sunshine Sessions.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do so people have an idea about what it is that we're going to talk about today from your mouth, and then we'll continue with the questions.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Dia Vaswani. I'm a certified image consultant and soft skills trainer. So I consult kids and young adults, that's how I like to call them, and even adults for soft skills as well as image consulting. I take session on communication skills, body language, one-on-one styling, dining etiquette, etc. So that's exactly what I do, and it's something that I'm really, really passionate about.
So, Dia, you've trained many people in the art of soft skills and communication and good manners. So, when did you realize that this is applicable to children and it starts at a younger age?
So I've had clients across various age groups, and there was no such eureka moment as such when I realized. But as and when I started dealing more with kids, even in one-on-one sessions as well as in a group session, I realized that first of all, that these young adults are the future generations of tomorrow, and they're going to shape our society for tomorrow. And why not begin at an early age? And considering something that you start learning at an early age, it becomes a habit, it becomes your lifestyle. It becomes like a muscle memory for you. So you don't have to, learn something and practice it for a short period of time in order to perform in the real world. It's something that, you go with the flow because it becomes a part of who you are. It becomes a part of your personality. And also, soft skills is not just like a rigid set of rules. It's not something that you follow just because it is. It is something that you learn through life, you learn on a daily basis, you practice it on a regular basis so that, number one, you feel self-confident, and number two, the people around you feel comfortable when they're with you. So I think that is when I realized that the younger you start, the easier and the more better it is, and it becomes a part of your muscle memory, and it becomes a part of your lifestyle, and you adapt to it in a much better manner. Hence, I started, teaching kids or young adults more frequently.
Got it. So, Dia, when we talk about soft skills, what does it mean? Because most parents, like me, I'm sure they think it's saying please and thank you. So, is that what it is, or is there more to it?
So what please and thank you to soft skills is what the ABC is to the English language, right? The foundation blocks for sure, but definitely not the language and not the communication overall. So when we prepare for our children, in fact, even before the child is born, we focus on how the child is going to, perform in school, which school the child is going to go to, and how much money should we invest on his or her education, and everything about the hard skills, right? We often forget to concentrate on the soft skills part of it until when you go to the college and you realize, oops, now I have to go for a job interview and now I need the soft skills, and then it's too late to adapt to it very easily. So what soft skills is basically that you practice on a day-to-day basis, and it is something that you practice with your child so that your child learns from you. See, you have to understand that we're in a world where our children are constantly learning from what we are doing on a daily basis, correct? So soft skills is the differentiating factor. It is the factor that, so for example, if there are two kids who've gone for a job interview, same school, same college, same grades, but only one of of them gets selected. What is the reason for that? The reason for that is the soft skills. It's how that child, differentiates himself or herself, creates an edge over the competition that he or she is facing. So soft skills has a lot more detail. It's about how in a child or even as adults, how you differentiate yourself in terms of your ethics, in terms of your time management skills, in terms of your how you communicate, what your body language is. All of this forms a very, very important part of who you are. So only when you have the soft skills, only when you know how you can differentiate yourself from the competition is when you realize that it is very important. And hence, the only reason I gave an example of a job interview is because it hits home. But technically, if you go to see, there are a lot of other reasons why you need to know and why you need to practice soft skills right from the very beginning. So the earlier you practice, the more easy it becomes for you to take it up as a lifestyle.
So let's talk about confidence, right? A lot of parents want their children to be confident, and a lot of children, when we notice them also, are shy.
Correct.
And conversing with unknown people is a problem. There are so many things that I have noticed around us, more so with screen time and all the things that we have now. So when parents want to build confidence in children, how is it that they do that with what you do? And how early does it start? Like, does it start at 4 or 5 or 6? Or what age does that come in?
Okay, so building confidence comes right from the beginning. There is no particular age as to when you start with it. So, for example, when a child is learning how to walk, correct? So you teach them, you hold the hand, you teach them, you take them forward, and then you leave them, right? You leave them because you feel that the child needs confidence to walk. That's it. You've given them the training, you've given them the knowledge. Similarly, when we teach our children cycling, correct? We put the side wheels and then we push the child on the cycle, hold their hand, and later we let them be. We've given them the knowledge and then we let them be in the real world. So similarly, confidence and communication skills and body language, you have to train them, give them the knowledge and let them navigate the world by themselves. There's no particular time frame when you can start training them, because technically, unknowingly, subconsciously, you start training all of this even before the child turns 1. Because you want the child to crawl, you want the child to walk, and even then you start encouraging the child, you start pushing the child, you start, giving the child that confidence that, okay, now you can go into the world and walk, or you can crawl, or you can cycle, or you can, just be there in the real world. So similarly, when you give confidence to your child, or when you encourage your child to perform in the world, you can't give them a map, a roadmap to the world, but you can definitely give them a compass to navigate through the world, correct? And similarly, on a regular basis, what you can do is you can teach them how to behave with others in terms of eye contact. So, when you're listening to someone, turn your body towards them and listen to them so that the other person also feels mattered. When you're telling the child a story, you could emote with your hands, and so that they can paint a mental picture in their head. Even the child starts talking to you in that way. When they emote a story to you, they start moving their hands in a way that you understand them. Then posture, when you're sitting upright, when you're walking upright, you can all make it a game, right? You don't have to make it like a teacher-student conversation on a day-to-day basis. What you can do is you can make it a game for them. For example, walk straight and chin up, otherwise there's an invisible crown on your head and that may fall, and you will immediately see your child not, slouching or bending down and walking. They will immediately start to walk with a lot of confidence. So confidence comes from your day-to-day activities. It comes from the small habits. It comes from something that you're doing on a regular basis, so that not one day suddenly when you're taking them in the real world and you expect them to perform, it's not going to happen in one day. It's on a regular basis what you're doing with them.
So one of the things that you teach is dining etiquette.
Yes.
So at what age does that come in? Like, of course, children, these days, they don't sit through a meal, let alone use a fork. So if there was a specific age that they could approach a structured curriculum, what age would that be?
Okay. So surprisingly, again, you can start as early as 1.5-year-old. And like you said, we're talking about table manners. We're not talking about dining etiquette, right? So dining etiquette is a more detailed, nuanced experience to a whole formal fine dine setup. Whereas table manners is something you teach your child at a very, very early age in order to sit peacefully, lovingly, and just respectfully eating a meal with everybody around, correct? So, as early as 1.5 to 3 years, what you could do is just sit with your child and share a meal every time, every day. So today, if I'm sitting with my child and we're eating every day together, the way I pick up my fork and put the food on it and eat it, the way I, pick up the spoon and the way I put the napkin, by just seeing all of this, they pick up a few things here and there and basic manners of how to pick up a fork and a spoon. I'm not talking about anything detailed until 3.5 years. 4 years onwards, considering they learn motor skills, then you could shift on to teaching them how to chew with their mouth closed. You could teach them how to use a napkin. You could teach them how to, use the cutlery in a more detailed manner, how to talk to people around. And then 9+, you could go into the more complexities of it. You could teach them how to use chopsticks. You could teach them how to talk to the wait staff, how to respectfully ask for another serving, how to be thankful to the guest, etc. So all of the details go on to 9+. But you can start as early as 1.5 to 2 years when you're just emoting how you're eating. That if our child is sitting, then everything has to be perfect while they eat their meal. But we have to understand that progress is more important than over perfection. In this journey, there will be like spilled soup, there will be dirty napkins, there will be broken cutlery. But the point is that they shouldn't be scared of making a mistake. They should be learning, they should be growing, and that's more important over them being perfect. Perfection can be attained at a later age. But initially, when you're teaching your child how to eat or how to be at a dining table setup, it's more about how much they've learned and how happily and respectfully they can sit at a table and eat with the people around them. So I think that's more important.
So body language is something that we must talk about when it comes to children. So what should parents be teaching children when it comes to body language, and what should they be modeling themselves?
Okay. So like I always say to my clients that a body language is more like a silent dialogue. It's not about just the way you sit or walk. It's a lot more detailed. What we could teach our children in terms of body language would be eye contact and posture, like I earlier spoke about. But for example, our child is throwing a tantrum. For example, a natural reaction for a toddler is when they're uncomfortable is to shout or yell. And a very natural reaction for a teenager when he or she is uncomfortable is to disappear, correct? But if we let our children be and if we let our children just behave the way they want to, then we're leaving them unarmed for social gatherings, correct? So what we can do is we can train our children in terms of, like I always use the term tame and train, which may sound harsh, but it's very, very important. So for example, if there's someone coming to a house and your child is not very keen on, meeting them and, they're very socially anxious to come and say hello also, I would recommend that, get your child out of the room, even if it's for a brief hello, even if it's just to hold a small conversation, even if it's just to say a hi, but just get your child out of the room so that he or she understands that we have to get out of a comfort zone and be socially, you have to be socially active. You cannot just be sitting in your room, because all of these small things will also add up to body language. For example, when we take our children out, we need to teach them how to behave in a certain manner. So for example, if you have a teenager or a tween even for that matter, and you tell them, say hello to auntie, right? And they'll be like, hello. And they're like, and then you tell them that, but this is not the way. They'll be like, but you told me to say hello and I said hello. But the point is the body language, the way you tell them. So you have to teach them how to be respectful and how to make sure that what they say goes with how they say it. So just saying hello is not the point. The point is to have a body language that is warm and compassionate towards who they're talking to, correct? So what we as parents can also do is we can model a calm posture, a poised posture in front of them so that they learn from us on a day-to-day basis, so that they understand that it's very important to be warm to the people around you, to be socially, to not have social anxiety, to be able to face everybody with respect and with love.
So when you spoke about social situations, so a lot of kids have certain anxieties these days, right?
Correct.
So how does one tackle those with ease when it comes to these gatherings and things that they have to attend?
Okay. So I would say get curious about your child. So there are times when we ourselves as adults freeze or just not know how to behave in an unwelcomed or a very unpleasant situation. So it's very natural for kids to also freeze and not understand what to do. So number one, do not make a very big deal about it. It is very normal, and you have to tell your child that it's okay. So one trick that we can use in this situation is inform before you perform. So if you're taking your child anywhere in terms of where there are a lot of people, or for example, if it's a birthday party, if it's a social event, if it's an annual day at school, whatever it is, make sure you've painted a mental picture for your child. You've told them exactly how or what things are going to be there like, so that your child doesn't go there and freeze, or your child doesn't be like, okay, where have I come? What is this new situation like? So for example, if it's a birthday party, right, the child's birthday party is coming up, and you tell them that I'll teach you a magic word, that you can tell people when they come and wish you or give you a gift. And that magic word is thank you. So if someone's coming up to you and wishing you a happy birthday, or if someone's coming and giving you a gift, please use the magic word, so they remember it and they use it instead of just running away while someone's wishing them or giving them a gift. So you could just rehearse with all of this with your child. The more you rehearse, the more you practice, even in small groups. For example, when you're holding a play date, right? Or when you're going to a family dinner, you could just help your children understand how to talk to people, because the more you rehearse and the more you practice this on a day-to-day basis with them, you will realize that your child is behaving in a certain manner like how you want them to do when the curtains unfold in the real world, So if there's an annual day, or if there's a birthday party, or if there's a family wedding, when your child is used to, or when your child has rerun the situations in their head, they're more comfortable there in the real world.
Got it. So if you had to give parents 3 simple tips where they can start this journey at home with their children, what would they be?
So I really like this because we're talking about the small shifts. Some daily habits that we can do on a daily basis is, for example, right from the age of 2 or 3, when you're taking your child out for a drive, even if it's not a long distance, even if it's just from home to class, class to home, we must avoid giving something to them in the hand in terms of like a screen or or toys or a book or anything to keep them engaged, because what we're teaching them is that just be busy all the time, be overstimulated all the time. The point is, when we are on the road, there is so much happening outside, right? Why not teach your child to look outside, question you on things that is happening in the real world? So for example, my son will always question me, Mama, why is this uncle wearing a helmet? Why is this uncle not wearing a helmet? Why did this police uncle catch this car? Why is the signal red? So only when they start looking out in the real world and start noticing what is happening, they'll start to question you, and they'll start to observe the minute things in life. As they grow older, they will start reading the billboards. They will be more aware of what is happening in their city. They'll start marking the landmarks. They'll start knowing the directions. So this window rule of just looking out of the window and just being present in the real life scenario is one of the things that I really want people to practice, because it really helps them not only in terms of being present, but also understanding what is happening out there. Similarly, so one would be the window rule. Second, I think what you could do is involve them in everything that you do, even in the daily chores. So for example, if you're making juice for them, you could just tell them, can you pass me a favorite glass? Can you pass me a bottle of water? Can you pass me this? So they feel involved and they feel really happy to be working. They feel wanted, right? What is the need of a human being? To feel wanted, right? And when you make your child feel wanted or needed, that it just makes them feel very, very good. So you could involve them in your daily activities. And number 3 would be when your child asks for a toy, at whatever age that could be, or when your child asks for something that they need or want, you could teach them the art of pitch it to me. It would be early for say 5 years below, but I think 5 years plus would be a great choice. So when you ask your child to pitch it to me as to why do you want it, when do you want it, what do I get if I give you this, how long are you going to use it for, tell me realistically. All of this when you do, your child becomes a powerful negotiator, because then he'll come up with reasons that really convinces you to get them that particular thing. And also they learn the art of communication brilliantly, then so this is something that this really helps them in life. So looking out of the window, involving them in your daily activities and pitch it to me, the game. You could just teach them this. These are the two or three, games that you could teach them, and it would really help them to grow in the real world.
So can you tell us one common mistake that you've observed parents around you making when it comes to teaching children manners and etiquette?
So one common mistake I think would be, for example, if your toddler is throwing a tantrum, we just end up giving them the phone or a toy or an iPad or something to keep them distracted. If your teenager refuses to get out of the room to say hello to the guest out there, we just let them be, or just be like, okay, fine, you go and watch your TV or whatever you want to do inside. But by by not helping them to come out in this situation, or helping them to avoid this social awkwardness, and we teach them to tune out. We're teaching them that the world is very noisy and you can tune out and be in your own zone. So I think that is the one mistake that we as parents are making in this day and age. We're letting them be. We're letting them avoid the social awkwardness. We're letting them avoid the social pressure, like they would term it as. So instead of telling them how to escape from the current situation, we would rather teach them the coping mechanisms as to how they would cope with the current situation that is happening, or something that you want them to deal with. Because navigating small talk on a daily basis is like a gym workout for kids. It's like practicing their social muscles and getting into the real world, and knowing how to deal with the situations on a regular basis will make them more strong and more resilient towards the environment.
So you work on personal branding, right? So do you think kids need to think about how they show up in the world and start thinking about it in that manner from now?
See, if you take personal branding as vanity, then no. But if you take personal branding as an intentional choice as to teach your kids as to how to show up intentionally in the real world, as to how they want to be perceived, then yes, it is very important for them to understand that how internal discipline can show up outside, in terms of what they're going through internally, would show up on how they're behaving or dressing themselves up or putting themselves out there. So it's very important to start young and teach them how to dress appropriately. Basic things, right? Like if we take them to the temple, we tell them that the shoes need to be out, or you need to dress appropriately. So why not dress appropriately, or put yourself out there just in an appropriate manner? I'm talking about dressing in a particular manner. Just dress for the occasion, or just dress appropriately, or how you want to be perceived as. I think there is no young, like too young, it's not, too young an age to start. You can start with them as early as maybe 6. It's very important. Also, you need to teach them that you're not dressing up for validation. You're not dressing up for others to see you in a particular light. You're dressing up to uphold your own standard of excellence, right? You're dressing up because you want to be perceived in a particular manner, or because you want to be you want to show up in a particular manner, right? So this is not for external validation. It's not for, he or she needs to dress up in a particular way because people are thinking like that. No way. It's about how they want to be showing up in a particular situation true to their identity.
If a parent is listening right now and thinking, I want my child to grow up to be well-mannered, to grow up confident. So what's your advice to them right now, how to get started?
Okay, so first I would like to say, take a deep breath. There's no one stop solution for all of this. It is an ongoing practice. It is something that you need to put in effort every single day. It is because every child is different. Every child has a unique persona, and every parent has a very different way of dealing with their children. We're living in a monkey see, monkey do world. Your children are going to imitate what you are going to do, right? So you need to be confident. You need to be poised. You need to have a proper body language, communication skills. You need to be that you need to show your child that you are showing up in a particular manner, for your child to adapt to that, for your child to learn what you are doing, right? So be the hero you want to see your child to become. So I think it's more on you than on your child.
So the last question now. So a lot of etiquette and a lot of what you do and personal grooming and, image is also about working with what physical appearance you have, right? So till date, I am learning certain colors that work for me, that don't work for me. Now, what is the correct age to start that for young adults, like you put it? And is it even something that you should approach with young adults or children?
So I think with children, you can start with basic practices like how, you can keep yourself hygienic and you can be clean and neat. For children, I'm talking about, say up till until the age of 5. Like you can just explain to them with the idea of how you keep your toys and everything neat and clean and avoid them from breaking. Similarly, you can take care of yourself and keep yourself neat and clean because that's the language they understand. Talking to them about how to have shiny teeth and your hair combed and all of that. However, for like for young adults, I think from the age of 10, the girls start to look at themselves in a very negative light, right? So at that age, instead of reinforcing that, you could put them in a positive light. You could teach your children how to dress up for a positive body image, right? How to wear colors that look good on them instead of telling them to avoid colors. Or you know what, this color, yellow color doesn't look good on you. Instead of saying such things, rather, you could get an analysis done and tell them, why don't you wear these colors? It would just instantly boost their confidence. It would just, even for boys, it would just tell them, wow, this color makes you look like a hero. And it would instantly just, boost their confidence. And for example, even for the way they dress as per their body type, instead of telling them to avoid something as per their body type, oh, this makes you look fat or this makes you look short. Instead of that, why not learn the tips and tricks and tell them to wear clothes that actually make them look taller or slimmer or whatever you as a parent, would want them to feel comfortable in. So also with all of this, I think if some parents think that, oh, my child is too young to learn all of this, or I don't want to put all of this in my child's head that I need to look this way or that way, but I still want my child to dress up a certain way, then the parent can actually learn the tips and tricks and use it with the child instead of teaching the child or putting the concept of vanity in their child if they want to avoid. And before all of this, you should definitely make your child understand that this is not for validation. This is not for because the world wants to see you in this particular image. It's about teaching your children how you could show up in your best identity, about how you feel powerful when you show up in a certain way. So there's no particular age when you can start, but I think at the age of 10 would be a sweet spot to, start understanding, or rather getting them to move from a negative body image or a negative light to a more positive one. So, even while we're living in a world where there's constant comparison and where people are judging you for who you are, why not give your child that armor, that little cover as to how he or she can present themselves and put their best foot forward in the real world. It's not only about dressing well, it's about how they talk, how they walk, how they behave, how they conduct themselves, how they put themselves out there, how they portray the best version of themselves in the real world, instead of covering it with that, oh, I want to avoid vanity as much as possible. But let's face it, in the real world, it starts at a very young age from now on.
So to end, let's do something fun and let's do a rapid fire. I have some questions for you. All right. One soft skill every child should learn before the age of 10.
I think speaking respectfully to everybody around you, no matter who you are or who that person is. I think speaking respectfully is one of the major soft skills. Yeah.
Okay. Biggest dining etiquette mistake kids make.
Biggest dining etiquette mistake kids make, or we as adults help kids make, is watching the screen. I mean, we're all guilty as charged. We as adults watch TV while eating, and we give the screen to the kids while they're eating. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes we teach them in terms of dining etiquette. So,
confidence comes from nature or nurture?
Both, but I think nurture forms 80% of it.
Okay. One book resource you recommend for parents?
I wouldn't recommend one book because there's nothing that one book can teach you. But, why not cherry pick the parenting styles of people around you? Why not listen to your own intuition as a mother? Why not, learn things from a lot of sources where you can, learn and unlearn and then teach your child a few things. So,
if you could teach one thing to every parent right now, what would it be?
be present with your child, because even though we're with them all day physically, we're so distracted and we're multitasking and we're constantly, just doing things with them. So I think even if you can give the 30-minute without any distraction, I think that would be more than enough. So just be present with your child. I think that's very important.
Finish the sentence. A confident child is a child
Who knows how to get back even after falling or failing.
The best age to start soft skills training?
Again, there is the earlier you start, the better. But I think post 5, I think any age is good.
Okay. Your go-to tip for shy kids?
My go-to tip for the parents of shy kids would be that put them in more social situations, so that, the social anxiety reduces. It may be easier said than done, but the more you put them in front of people with different backgrounds, age groups and everything, I think slowly but surely the shyness will reduce and they will come out stronger.
One thing parents should stop saying to their kids immediately?
Anything negative, all negative reinforcements like you're short, you're dark, you do this, you throw a lot of tantrums, you don't eat properly, you're not listening to me, anything negative should be avoided.
Your favorite part about working with kids versus adults?
So with kids, I think kids believe in magic, and hence it gives me a big playground to work with them, whereas for adults, we've lost the concept of magic no matter how much we say we believe in it, and hence it makes a cubicle strong, and hence it's just very, very beautiful to work with kids because you can just show them the world, you can just show them the sky is the limit. Despite that, in my journey, I've still seen a lot of my clients still bloom even after having a lot of inhibitions.
So if you weren't doing this, you'd be?
I don't know, after talking so much about children, I think a parenting coach, maybe.
Okay. One word to describe your work?
Wholesome and empowering.
So thank you, Dia. That
Thank you
concludes
so much.
our talk.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you so much for all the information that we got from you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for the audience to listen to me. And I hope this helps at least one child or one parent somewhere. I think that would make a lot of difference to me as well.
So we've spoken so much about etiquette. And with regards to that, we have some exciting news to share with you all.
Yes.
We are going to launch a once-a-week program for young adults or young children to learn about etiquette and how to incorporate that into their daily lives.
So through these sessions, we're going to be teaching the kids how to conduct themselves in the real world through mannerisms, through etiquette, through soft skills training, and just how to create an edge over others and how to create a strong self-identity.